Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. The holiday is over. Hopefully everyone um, who tuned into the previous stream was able to bear with it because the technicalities of the stream was a little bit difficult. So we're back to normal for Gameweek 29. Welcome to the Gameweek 29 deadline stream. It is of course a blank game week, so there is really not a lot of teams to talk about. There have been a couple of updates in terms of team news that may or may not affect our teams depending whether you are on a free hit or not. A couple of rumors here and there, so I don't want to spread any rumors that isn't true. And obviously the injuries that we already know to Ollie Watkins. Will he start? We don't really know for certain, right? And I doubt we will get any leaks as well. But there's a lot of, even though it's only 8 teams that are playing, the news surrounding or leading up to Gameweek 29 has made it quite difficult to kind of make our transfer. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of shed some light on this and collectively make some decisions together on the stream. Right, but thank you guys for coming down early. VJ as well, early as always. morning all from Watford, home of the Hornets. Nice to see you, VJ. Nagable as well, David, Keymaker, Trini Gunnar as well. I interact with a lot of you guys in the comments section, so thank you guys for coming down early. It's nice to interact with all of you. -8. Is a -8 worth it to get 11 players and all the big dogs? Alright, so I feel like for Gameweek 29, at least just to set the tone, you don't necessarily have to have 11 players. I think it's more about having the key assets from each of these 8 teams covered. And obviously, I would say 7 teams because Burnley, I wouldn't count them as a team that you have to have a player from. So really, it is just 7 teams, and if you have the key players from these 7 teams, I think you are good to go, right? So it really depends who you're taking a -8 for as well. If it is, let's say you're taking a -8 to bring in a Fulham player, and then, you don't really want to keep that. Let's say it's Muniz, right? Because I was very keen on Muniz, but now it seems as if Raul Jimenez is back. Broya also has this term in his contract where he has to play or at least start the next few games. If not, Fulham have to pay a fee to Chelsea, because obviously he's on loan from Chelsea, and there is a clause that says that Broya has to get a certain amount of starts. So that could also come into play, and therefore Muni's minutes could definitely be under threat. So I've kind of shifted my view from being quite hot on Muniz to now kind of avoiding him, right? So once again, I say it really depends on who you are taking the -8 for. It's hard to say on surface value. So for those of you guys who are making transfers or using free transfers to get to 11 players, it's better you let me know who you're bringing in for the -8. David says, morning, only got 6 players playing so far. I mean, 6 I feel is at least, 6 is probably too little for this week. Keymaker says, morning consult, just thinking of Solanke to someone other than Tony as I would need the funds. Wildcard 28, so free hit later. Yeah, that's fair. Same strategy as well. If you're looking for someone else other than Tony, and you need him really, really cheap. I mean, I don't want to say David Datro Fofana, but there really isn't any other player to go for. I would imagine if you were on Wildcard 28, you would have already gone for Morris, and you would have Watkins also, right? So really there aren't a lot of standout forward options to go for. So it's really just Solanke to Tony or Muniz if you're willing to take the risk. If not, maybe Fofana as a differential. But it really depends. If you need this slot, then I wouldn't go for Fofana, right? I would actually recommend going for someone with safer minutes. Any news on Watkins? Not at the moment. Thanks for the reminder as well. Let me just check on Twitter. Don't think we have anything concrete. I mean, we're very early. We are 3 hours before the deadline. I mean, as always, but I don't think we would get much news. Yeah, nothing much. I mean, it's basically as we expected. We're not gonna get much team news, to be fair. Have planned till Game Week 33. Is it worth getting Visa or Muniz over Tony? Yeah. So for Visa, the reason why I am a little bit cautious of Visa is because I think Mopé has missed out quite a number of games. So it could very well be this week that maybe Mopé starts ahead of Visa. And you gotta bear in mind that Brian Buemo could get some minutes soon as well, right? Because he's back in training. The update on Ryan Buemo is that he's looking good. He's on the grass. He could get some minutes according to Thomas Frank. So that obviously could eat into some minutes as well for Visa. Thoughts on Chris Wood as a punt. So there's a lot of tweets going on Twitter asking Nottingham Forest fans whether Chris Wood is going to play. Right, so honestly, at this point in time, it is a coin flip. I mean, it could be Chris Wood, it could be Elwani, it could be either one of them. Right, so, but my thoughts on Chris Wood as a punt or Nottingham Forest attackers in general, I like it. I think this is actually a week where Nottingham Forest players could do quite well in. I don't have a choice because I've gone for Ilanga already, but I'm kind of quietly confident that Ilanga would start firstly, and I think he would do quite well this week. Right, playing down the same flank where last week Semenyo got a lot of joy. Alright, so I think Ilanga could do quite well there. Cosmos Rana says, need you more than ever this week. A lot of uncertainty. Yeah, to be honest, I am actually quite happy. I guess happy is not the right word. I guess I'm fortunate, I guess, that I'm not on a free hit this week, because I'm just thinking if I was on a free hit, I will build a final draft for you guys later on in the stream. But I was just thinking to myself that if I was on a free hit, there's so much uncertainty as to whether, let's say, Watkins will start. Will he start? If he starts, you definitely want to have him in your team. And then there's Reguilon as well. I think Reguilon is less of a doubt as compared to Watkins. And then there's rumors of Madison possibly not being in training as well. That one is not concrete as well, but just some doubt spreading around the Twitter community. And yeah, it's just I was just thinking to myself, and then Ilanga being benched, right, in Game Week 28. I'm just thinking to myself, lucky I'm not in a situation where I have to free hit. But I do understand and appreciate that for those of you guys who are on a free hit, I'll build a draft later on that I think if I was on a free hit, I would go for, right? And there will be a balance of at least some risky picks, but also good differentials that I think you can consider, right? The upside, of course, for those of you on a free hit as compared to those on free transfers is that if you're on a free hit, you probably have a better bench as compared to, you look at my bench and I have no one on the bench. So let's say Watkins really misses out, then I'd be in trouble, right? So, and the free hitters would be ahead on points there. So pros and cons, but hopefully at the end of the day, the points difference isn't too great. Alex says, I'm not on free hit. Do you think it's worth going for Paqueta over Bowen? This will enable me to get Salah for 31. I heard Paqueta was a slight injury doubt. Not that I know of that Paqueta is a slight injury doubt. I don't think I've read anything so far on Paqueta being a slight injury doubt, but I would still go for Bowen. Then my next pick would not be Paqueta as well. My next pick would be Kudus. Then it will be Paqueta, I feel. But Paqueta is on penalties. I mean, likely he's on penalties. So if that's where you want to go as a punt, and he enables your move for Salah later on, it could be justified. But you will probably be in a situation where you're stuck with Paqueta for quite a while. If you're alright with that, then go ahead. Yeah, there was only an update for Emerson, right? Who has a little bit of groin strain, right? So a late call will be made on Emerson, but that's pretty much it. I don't think we heard anything concrete about Paqueta, if I missed it out. What's the perfect free hit team? Yeah, I'll build the free hit team in a bit. Robert says, good team without free hit. I'm missing one player. I'm missing a midfielder, and that's pretty much a compromise that I decided to make when I wildcarded in Game Week 28. It's slightly different from what other people are doing. I completely understand that. Right, so my team would obviously look slightly different from some people who are using just free transfers and did not wildcard in 28. Joel's in the chat. Nice to see you, Joel. Alex says, sorry, man, Game Week 30, not 31. Enable me to get Salah for 30. I think Salah for 30 could be a good differential, but the question is whether Paqueta is that much more of a better asset than Bowen this week. Let me just see what's the price of Kudus. So Kudus is at 6.8. I think Paqueta is slightly cheaper. Yeah, Paqueta is 6 million. I still would try to go for Bowen because I do think there will be goals in that game. I think there will definitely be goals. But if you prioritize that Salah transfer later on, maybe on the balance of things, it could work out. It could. Right, Solanke, Foden, Gordon out for Bowen, Madison, Tony in for a -8. Is it worth it? Solanke, Foden, and Gordon. Yeah, I think this -8 is worth it for a couple of reasons. Because you are removing Gordon, who seems to be an injury doubt. Madison you can keep for the next few game weeks. Bowen in for Foden. I think Bowen is a decent hold for the next few game weeks as well. And Solanke to Tony is a move that I'm doing, and I think I'm okay to do without Solanke for the next few game weeks. So the fixtures are there for Bournemouth for sure, but I definitely don't think that people on a wild card for, say, game week 30 or 31 would have Solanke as one of the first few names on their wild card. I could definitely see I've started building some wildcard 30 drafts in preparation for content next week, and I don't really have Solanke in the draft, right? It obviously depends on when Bournemouth double. There's some talk about whether we will get double game week news before game week 30, before the game week 30 deadline. If we do, then obviously that could change some drafts. If Solanke is going to double again in 34, maybe some people will be tempted to have him from the get-go already, but for now I don't mind going without Solanke. So my move this week, I've sold Solanke to Tony. So I think that -8 is worth it. I have one free transfer. I want to use my free hit. Will it be... I have one transfer and want to use my free hit. I don't really understand that. You could rephrase the question. Lloyd says, hey Leon, why Elanga over Gibbs White, who is also on penalty? So Lloyd, I kind of made the decision last week on a wild card. I went for Elanga, right, for the greater goal threat, and also he was getting consistent minutes, at least for the last few. I mean, his benching in game week 28 was really, really unexpected, because from game week 23 onwards, he was starting and pretty much playing every single game up till game week 28, right? And reading the press conference quotes by Nuno, I kind of feel as if he regret his decision a little bit. Like in reading the fine prints and seeing how he phrased his words, I could kind of sense that he kind of regret changing the tactics and going without Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi, both of whom were doing very well for Forest. In exchange for an extra midfielder in the middle of the park, so that hopefully they could gain some control of the game against Brighton. But I think he regret, and I think because of that, Elanga is going to come straight back in. So could Callum Hudson-Odoi as well. But if I was choosing one this week, I still think I would be tempted to go for Elanga. I still think I would do it. 2 questions: Morgan Gibbs White plus Kudus or Bowen plus Elanga? This is tricky. I'll probably say Bowen plus Elanga. Secondly, is it worth doing a third transfer by removing Ake for a -8 to get to 11 players? Nah. I wouldn't take an extra hit to bring in defenders this week just to get to 11 players, because I think defensively it is the defense is the hardest to predict this week, where the clean sheets will be. So I don't think it would be worth it. Solanke to Watkins, wildcard 31, no free hit 29. Right, so you're dead ending to game week 30. Solanke to Watkins. I think this is a spot where you could actually go. I mean, there's some doubt over the minutes for Watkins or whether he'll start. I guess it's important for me to lay out my guesses or what I feel is going to happen. Right, so for Regulon, I think my own gut feel is that he's going to start because he's been in training in the past week, as well as Thomas Frank giving a positive update during the press conference. So I think Regulon is good to go. Ilanga in my midfield, I think he is also good to go because, again, as I mentioned just now, I feel like Nuno kind of regret going without Ilanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think both of them start this game. And then for Watkins, it's a gash. There was no pre-game week 29 press conference aside from the Europa Conference League game, where Unai Emery kind of gave some updates on Ollie Watkins' injury. So it was just a gash. And my thought is that I don't think it's enough to keep him out. He asked to be substituted out. But the thing is, he played on before that, for at least about 10 minutes after that, and he scored a goal. And then he asked to be substituted off. Right, so the fact that he could play for 10 minutes after that kind of makes me feel as if, yes, it's an open wound. He asked to be taken off so that he could deal with it, but I don't think it's enough to keep him out for game week 29. Right, so my thought is that Watkins is going to play as well. So essentially, when it comes to Solanke to Watkins and you are on a wildcard 31, I think I may just do that. Because honestly speaking, there's not a lot of forward options to go for this week that are equally as safe. Roslev or Regulon, I think I will go for Regulon. Even though he is yellow flagged, I will still go for Regulon. Dan Madison for Kevin De Bruyne, that works as well. How many double game weeks left? So game week 34 will be a double game week. Game week 37 will be a double game week. There is a slight chance that either of game week 35 or 36 could be a double game week as well. Then the teams that could double in these game weeks that aren't confirmed yet, which is 35 and 36, is either Chelsea, Brighton, and Tottenham. These three teams, right? So it's either the Chelsea versus Brighton game moves into 35 or 36, or the Chelsea versus Spurs game moves to 35 or 36, right? So those are the exceptions. If not, then it'll just be 34 and 37. Really hope Tony delivers today. He has been quiet the last few weeks. Yeah, exactly. I hope so too. I hope so too. The fact that Mbeumo is coming back, which I hope Mbeumo at least gets 30 minutes today. If he comes back, I think that is super good for Tony. Mbeumo is a really good provider of assists for Tony. I will not use a free hit this week, and to have 11 players, I'll be taking a -8. Any advice? Right, you gotta let me know how your team is looking like. We should know about double game week 34 and 37 before 30, as we will find out who plays in the FA Cup semi-final as confirmed by Ben. Exactly. So there's some talk as to whether before game week 30 we will know, and in that case that could kind of change whether we go for Solanke in your wildcards. But by then I guess it's a different conversation, or there's a post game week 29 conversation. We will see what happens, because game week 30 is after the international break, so there will be quite a bit of time before we actually have to build the drafts for those on a wild card closer to that period. So there will be content around that, and I'll try to include, of course, the latest updates from Ben as well. I'm on a free hit. Would you play Wissa over Morris, or do you have Tony and Watkins? Right, I think maybe we should head over to fpl.team and let me build a free hit team if I was going to free hit. Right, so this is my team. Ignore the current players. So if I was on a free hit in game week 29, I already built an initial draft, but that one was released really early in the week. So for those of you on a free hit and you're watching, if I was to free hit right now and build a draft before um, the Gameweek 29 deadline, my keepers, I would keep it simple. I would definitely have Flecken, right? He's already in the team. I would have Flecken, and the substitute keeper would be Cells. Right, in defense, it's definitely going to be Doughty. I would still go for Regulon ahead of uh, Rose left, right. See my team again. Right, so I'll go for Regulon. And then I would have Poro over Udogi. So my defense would look something like this. We'll leave the two defensive spots on the bench up for debate. Alright. And then in midfield, I would have Bowen, I would have Son, I would also have Madison. I would also have Ilanga. Right, he's in the team already. This is the tricky thing about not being on a free hit when everyone else is already on a free hit. Right, I'll have Ilanga, and then I would have one more player that I really want. Right, let me just replace Solanke with Tony first. Morris would be on the bench. I would actually go with 5 midfielders, and I would be tempted to have this spot filled by either of Kudus or Leon Bailey. Like this Kudus spot here, I feel, could either be Leon Bailey or Kudus. For now, I'll put Bailey because he's the one that I prefer over Kudus. So for now, if I was on a free hit in Gameweek 29, it would look something like this: 3-5-2, Flecken, Poro, Regulon, Doughty, Ilanga, Bowen, Son, Madison, Bailey, and then up front is Tony and Watkins. I'll probably still captain Son. And then the bench is pretty much up to you, the defenders you want to go for. Maybe you want to have a Villa defender here, like, I don't know, maybe Alex Moreno, potentially. Or Pau Torres if you want to go safer. And a Nottingham Forest defender as well. I'd probably go for Nico Williams. Or Toffolo, right? But I'll just go for Nico. You probably won't use either of these. So if I was on a free hit in Gameweek 29, this is how my team would look like. Right, 3-5-2, and then I would have Ilanga here. I mean, you see the 2 slots here, Ilanga and Leon Bailey. I feel like you could go either of these 2 picks, or you could go for someone like Kudus. You could also have, Douglas Luiz if you really wanted, but I prefer Bailey over Douglas Luiz. There's Kudus as well. There's Paqueta. So these these 2 slots, Ilanga and Bailey, I think it's up for grabs, and I think they are better assets to have than to start Morris against Nottingham Forest. That's my honest thoughts. Right. So if I was to build again and make another free hit video, it'll be a 3-5-2 looking something like this. Let me know what you guys think. Right. For those of you on a free hit, what do you think of this draft? And what changes will you make? Virgil van Dijk, who shall I replace him with? Spurs defender, Pedro Porro. Solanke to Tony, Foden to Ilanga for a -4. Yes, I would do that. Excuse me. Foden, Solanke, and Branthwaite to Madison, Tony, and Porro for -8. 11 players, and then wildcard in 31. I guess that could work. I don't mind that. Would you punt and start Williams hit a regular on a free hit? I'm not so confident Brentford keep a clean sheet. Already have Flecken. If you want to spread your risk out, I don't mind it. And yeah, I don't mind starting Neco Williams ahead of Regulon if you want to spread your risk. But for me, I would just start Flecken and Regulon. I have 1 free transfer already. If I use a free hit this week, will it be carried to Game Week 30? So in Game Week 30, even if you've already made like 1 transfer before you activated your free hit, that transfer is not going to stay. Basically, you would have your original team before you made any transfers in Game Week 29. Exactly the same team back for Game Week 30, and you would only have 1 free transfer. That's how it works. You don't get to carry transfers over. Duncan says, would you wildcard in Gameweek 29. I definitely would not wildcard in Gameweek 29. No chance. Erwin's in the chat. Nice to see you. Erwin is a member as well. Do we have any Madison news? Unfortunately, we are too early for that. Right, we'll come back to this draft, but let me just take a look if we have any Madison news. But honestly, it is too early. Excuse me. It is too early. We really don't have any news. I mean, the latest that we've seen about Madison is that he wasn't pictured in the video. The video that Tottenham released of their players training, but basically there's also some doubt as to whether he came off with a knock in the previous game. I mean, some people are noticing on Twitter that maybe he came off with a knock just as he was going to be substituted. So there is some doubt. And I guess we could wait till closer to the deadline if you really want news on that. But unfortunately, we don't have any Madison news for now. I'll keep a lookout on Twitter. Ilanga or Diaby first spot on the bench. I mean, I feel like Diaby is not a guaranteed starter, right? So I wouldn't be as confident to start Diaby as compared to Ilanga. Three possible transfers this week: Odegaard to Madison, Saka to Ilanga, Solanke to Watkins. One free transfer. Should I make two of those moves, and which one? Or is a -8 viable for those specific moves? Odegaard to Madison, Saka to Ilanga, Solanke to Watkins. It's whether you want to take a chance, to be fair. Do you want to take a chance that Watkins start? Because if you do, then Solanke to Watkins is the move that I would prioritize. And then after that, it's either one of Saka to Ilanga or Odegaard to Madison. But there, of course, is some doubt surrounding Madison, so keep a lookout for that one. Need the players till wildcard 31. All of them can be kept until you wildcard. Right, so those are fine. Good morning. Want to be my first bench option. Douglas Luiz, Bailey, Ilanga, or Kudus. Douglas Luiz. He's gonna score a penalty now. Just out of interest, how come you haven't gone for Madison? So the reason why I haven't gone for Madison is because he blocks my future transfers. I'll be getting Salah in Gameweek 30, and I'll be getting Darwin Núñez and Haaland in for a hit in Gameweek 31. So if I'd gone for Madison, he blocks one of those transfers, as compared to Ilanga, who enables me to make that move because Ilanga is really cheap. Top G says, should I do a -8 this week for 11 players to play? I took a -4 last game week. Right, so the thing about taking hits last week is that what's done is done. Right, what's done is done. Is a -8 worth it at this point in time, objectively? Right, I wouldn't think about having taken a hit last week. I can't take a hit anymore this week. Like, I just view it as each week individually and objectively. Is the -8 worth it? Am I bringing in players that I would need for the next few game weeks that can repay the -4 or the -8? Orin says, not comfortable doubling on Brentford defense, to be honest. I also think I prefer Morgan Gibbs-White over Ilanga, but pretty similar drafts. Yeah, I mean, it's fair. For those of you who do want to go for Morgan Gibbs-White over Ilanga, that's fair enough. It is definitely an option. This Ilanga and Bailey spot is really up for grabs, right? Let me just put a couple of other options for those of you who are just tuning in. It could be Bailey, could be Kudus as well. Like these two slots are really just up for grabs. And those are really where your differentials come in, right? If you really want to go different, you choose someone who is very low owned. Watkins to Duran, I definitely wouldn't do that. What would be a wildcard team for Gameweek 29? I wouldn't wildcard in Gameweek 29, my friend. Adamek says, thank you, no problem. Arwin says, defense, yep. Duncan, I have 9 players on a blank. What should I do? Free hit. If you have 9 players on a blank, then you free hit. Exactly as Toby is saying. By the way, if you guys have not dropped a like on the stream, just please do help me out and drop a like as well. It really helps the channel. Also, I forgot, unfortunately, how could I have forgot? But we hit 7,000 subscribers very, very recently, after the Gameweek 27 deadline stream, right? So, but because I was on a holiday last week, I didn't manage to have my setup like this. So, in today's stream, how many people do we have in the stream today? Let me check. All right, there's about 171 of you guys here that are tuning in. I'm gonna give away 10 memberships because we just hit 7,000 subscribers um, very, very recently, right? So I want to thank you guys. I'm gonna give away 10 memberships to those of you guys who are in the chat right now and you're subscribed. All you have to do is be subscribed, and I think the algorithm would automatically allocate you the memberships if you qualify. All right, so we'll do that closer to the end of the stream. I'll be ending it at around in about 30 minutes time. I'll end the stream. So I will give out the memberships just before we end as well, so we can end the stream on a high. Right. Michael says thoughts on Udogi over Poro. Do you think Regulon starts? I think Regulon starts. And thoughts on Udogi over Poro. If it's for one game week, I would go for Poro. If it's over the course of the next few game weeks, and money might be an issue later on, then Udogi, because Udogi is so much cheaper than Pedro Porro, and it's also the reason why I've gone for Udogi in my wildcard last week. Move for Watkins or Madison for a -4 this week, considering both are doubts. If not either, should I go Bailey or someone else in the midfield? Already have Ilanga. Hold on, give me a moment. Right, sorry. Move for Watkins or Madison for a -4 this week, considering both are doubts. If not either, should I go for Bailey or someone else in the midfield? Already have Ilanga. So it's very, very tricky, right? I understand the situation that you're in. It's very, very tricky because you want to take a hit for a player that you are missing, or that you haven't gone for, that a lot of people have. But then again, you don't really know whether he's gonna start. So I would just kind of make a judgment call on my own. If I was in your position, I make a call on whether I think Watkins will start, let's say, or I'll make a call if I think Madison will start. And if I think that's the case, I would act accordingly, because honestly, nobody knows. So either you wait for leaks, which I think really we probably won't get leaks. Either you wait for leaks or you make a judgment call on your own first, and then just determine whether the move is worth it, whether the -4 is worth it. If it is, then go for it. Because nobody can predict the future, so you can really only just base it off of what you think is going to happen. Wood instead of Morris, I think it's a fair gamble, right? VJ and Toby helping me to plug. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the support. And yes, please like and subscribe. Let's try and get to, I don't really do this, but let's try and get to, I don't know, 70 likes today. Let's try to get to 70 likes for those of you who are watching. If you are watching, you haven't liked, it just takes a second. Please do just drop a like on the stream. Will Richarlison play? Latest news is that he could get some minutes, according to Ange. Not sure whether he'll start though. What doubts on Madison? So Madison, there's some rumors going on Twitter basically, but I haven't shown, like, let's say a tweet or something, because I haven't displayed a tweet or anything, because it is still a rumor, right? Nobody knows for certain yet. And of course, Postecoglou did not say anything, right, about Madison. I predict a low scoring week, average of maybe 25. Fair enough. It could definitely be that case. And then everyone who's going on about how using a free hit in a blank game week has low upside, all these people would come out from hiding. Ilanga or Madison or Bowen. Uh, the one who is the one that I would definitely have out of these three, if I don't have, is Bowen first, followed by Ilanga. Now Madison is a doubt, right? So it's hard to say between Ilanga and Madison. I would start Morris over Kudus. I wouldn't. I mean, fair enough. If you want to do that, it works. But I would just go for Kudus ahead of Morris. To be fair, Nottingham Forest have been defending quite well. If Madison and Watkins don't start, it'll be a wild game week. I'm here for the chaos. 100%. 100%. I can guarantee you that if Watkins and Madison don't start, it will be absolute madness on Twitter. I promise you. Dominique says, hi Leon, I have Areola, Pal, Konza, Regulon, Poro, Son, and Watkins. I have 2 free transfers. Would you still free hit? If not, who would you bring in? And will you do a -4 for 10 players? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 2 free transfers. I would just do I would save the free hit. It seems as if you have 2 free transfers, as well as taking a hit would get you to 10. I would save the free hit. Ruli says, hi bro, I only have 6 players playing, no free hit chip. You could take a couple of hits for some players that are decent for the next few game weeks. Spurs players especially. The favourite captain mostly flops. Son owners beware, I'm backing Tony. It's true though, it's true. It seemed like how this season, a recurring trend, I mean, there's no... It could very well not be the case this week, but the past few times that there's always been a player that is very, very popular that everyone brings in, the next week, that player blanks. It's just a trend that has been happening. This whole season. Roslev and Regulon numbers aren't far apart. Always a risk that he re-injures a hamstring. If it's for this game week alone, then just go for Regulon and hope that he starts, I think. If it's for the next few game weeks, I don't think I would wanna... Regulon's fixtures aren't the best after this one, defensively, right? United, Brighton, Aston Villa, I definitely think they could all score in there. I think from 33 onwards is where Brentford's fixtures look really good. Right, so that is where I think you would really want to play Regulon. For my own team as well, I doubt I would be starting Regulon until 33, right, if I still have him by then. Also, let me just switch it back to my team, right? So for those of you guys who just tuned in, I'm not on a free hit, and this is my team going into Gameweek 29 with just 10 players. My transfer this week was Solanke out for Ivan Toney. If Madison is out, who will you go for? I'm on a wildcard 31. If Madison is out, you could go for Nottingham Forest midfielders. You could go for West Ham midfielders. Either one of those. Should I start Vissa or Tony? Help me. This one is easy. It's just, you have to start Tony ahead of Vissa. Have to. It's either you go for Tony and Vissa, or just Tony. There's no such thing as just Vissa. Where is the source on Madison being a doubt? I don't really wanna show the source because it is again a rumor. It's a rumor, so I don't wanna spread false rumors, because for those of you guys who do want to go for Madison, there has been nothing that Ange Postecoglou said that is conclusive enough to say that Madison is gonna miss out. So I don't want to show a tweet and then if Madison ends up starting, right, I would have given you guys, I would have put you guys off Madison. So I don't want to do that. Alex says, sorry to keep bombarding you with questions. Still have Richarlison and also have Son. Do you think bringing Madison in as well is worth it? If you have Richarlison, I honestly don't think Richarlison starts. Right? That's just the judgment call that I'm going to make. And therefore, if you want to replace Richarlison and you already have Son, now that you know that there's a bit of a rumor about Maddison, right? It's either you go for you make a call and you think that Maddison is still gonna start, you go Richarlison to Maddison, or you go Richarlison to a West Ham midfielder or a Nottingham Forest midfielder. No one backing Kulusevski. What do you think about him? I mean, it's just because he's just not as consistent or as good an option as compared to someone like Son, right? Or Maddison. Right. Let me just get back to the chat. When do you think is ideal to buy Haaland? So for my own team, I don't have Haaland. The plan is to either bring him back in game week 31 or to bring him back in game week 32 if I'm willing to wait one more game week, because in game week 31 he plays Aston Villa. So there is of course a chance that if we could go without Haaland in that particular game week, I mean obviously now that McGinn is suspended, he's probably going to be suspended for 3 games, so 29, 30, 31. If McGinn is suspended for the Man City game, I think I'll be very afraid going without Haaland. And maybe then I still take a hit to bring Haaland in 31. But there's obviously a chance as well that you could wait one more week, don't do it in 31, and bring Haaland back in 32 instead. So I'm kind of back and forth between those plans for now. I haven't confirmed it yet, but by the time it comes around, I think maybe some news that we get will help me to kind of conclude. I will show you guys a bit about my future transfers and how the team is going to look like for the next few game weeks later on. Any chance of leaks at all? I'll make my transfers now. I can always wait, but just curious as to what you would do. Super tense and indecisive this week. So in general, I just like to have all the information possible. So I would wait maybe up to 30 or maybe 15 minutes before the deadline at max. And if no news is coming in by then I would make a judgment call on either of Watkins or Maddison. I'll make a call on whether I think they're going to start, and then I will go with that. Right, so that is probably what I'll do. I will still want to wait a little bit. Would start. Rumors of Elneny being injured. Let me just check on the Elneny news. I don't have anything conclusive. But if there is obviously, it's straightforward, right? If Elneny is out, then Wood is gonna start. I just don't see it on Twitter, so I don't wanna. Maybe you could share the source. Let's see where this tweet is. But obviously, if he's out, if we get conclusive news that Elneny is out, it's straightforward that Wood will probably start then. Let's see. I only have 4 players playing, including Watkins. What should I do? Don't have the free hit as well. Then I guess you just try to take a couple of hits, go for players that you can keep for the medium to long term, maybe some Spurs players. If Watkins is out, thoughts on double up with Vissa and Tony. Free hit. Do you prefer Flecken or Reguilon for Brentford defender? I prefer Reguilon, right, if I'm covering the Brentford defense. And in terms of Tony and Vissa as a double up, if Watkins is out, if we somehow get some news that Watkins is going to miss out later on, I don't think I would go for Vissa plus Tony. Like, that is my honest thoughts. I think in that case, I may just go Morris and Tony. Because I am quite doubtful of Visa's minutes. I'm quite doubtful of Visa's minutes. It's Tony's birthday. Everyone has to get him. Why Ilanga instead of Gibbs White? So I went for Ilanga over Morgan Gibbs White because last week, I mean obviously the greater goal threat, but last week there was no hint of him missing out against Brighton, right? So this one has really come as a shock, but I do think he comes back in, right? So I'm all right to have Ilanga now. Wood will start or Ewani, right? So if the rumors are true that Ewani is out, maybe Wood, but I don't have any conclusive news on Ewani being out yet. I have 9 players and 1 free transfer. Solanke to Watkins or Eze to Ilanga or both for a -4. Eze to Ilanga, but Crystal Palace's fixtures are pretty alright, right? Or they're kind of ending. Crystal Palace. So Eze to Ilanga. I think I would do that -4. I'll make both transfers for a -4. Morris or Vissa, I'm on a free hit. I would prioritize Morris. Already have Son, Watkins, Doughty, Barkley, Morris, Taylor. What are your thoughts? A -8 for 9, Bowen, Tony, and Madison, or a -12 for 10. I think it's either the -8 or the free hit. I think I'm likely just to go for the -8 in your position. Is Watkins available? We don't really know yet. Why Ilanga over Gibbs White? Start Bailey or Kudus. Would I start Bailey or Kudus? I start Bailey ahead of Kudus. I saw it was just a video clip that some Spurs players are training in the gym and Madison was not featured. I think it's just a rumor. It's exactly that, right? So that's why I don't want to say conclusively whether Madison is going to go out or Madison is not going to start, because it could very well be that Madison starts. So I don't want to give any false information. So why Ilanga over Gibbs White? I'm just going to keep it short and simple for those of you guys who just joined. I wildcarded last week and Ilanga was my transfer in, so I'm stuck with him. This week though, if I was choosing a player, would I go for Ilanga or Gibbs White? I think I may still choose to go for Ilanga because I think Ilanga is going to come back into the starting 11. Would you do a -4 to do Solanke to Tony to have 10 players? Yes, because I think Tony this week would pop off. I think he could very well repay the hit immediately this week already. Right, Toby says, I'm going for a wild... Not Toby. Sofian says, I'm going for a wild card, so I'm preparing my team. If you're on a wild card... If you are on a wild card, I would not use it this week. I would use it next week. That is the honest... That is my honest view. Why so many spammers nowadays? Exactly. I mean, the moderators are doing the best that they can. I mean, I'm really thankful for the moderators that have been helping to moderate the chat all this while. Right, some of them are members as well, so thank you very much for helping out. I think next season, excuse me. I think next season, at the start of the season, I'll try to get more moderators in the chat. Hopefully the spamming situation would be dealt with. What would you do if Watkins misses out? I would just have a lie down on my couch and just have a lie down and accept that's fate. Because I don't think I would be removing Watkins for now. At least I don't think I'm in the position to remove Watkins. Don't get the Morris hate. Luton always scores. Good at set plays, plus Forest, bottom 5 for set piece goals conceded. Top 3 easily in aerial ability between the two teams, and he's on penalties. I mean, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. It's just that I think the Forest defense of late has been pretty decent. Maybe set pieces wise, you could be right, but of late defensively they've been alright. And of course the data backs that. And then I'm thinking whether a player like Kudus or player like Bailey, is he better than objectively better for one game week than Morris? I think I would take that chance. I think I would take that chance. VJ says 70 likes target achieved. Well, thank you very much for those of you guys who helped out, and we have reached the target for today's stream. Right, so thank you very much. All right, so we're gonna end the stream in 10 minutes as usual. We always stream for an hour. So what I'm gonna do now, there's about 182 of you guys on stream. I'm going to give away 10 memberships to thank all of you guys for helping the channel hit 7,000 subscribers very, very recently, like 2 game weeks ago, right? Which I didn't have the chance to thank you guys. So I'm gonna give out the memberships now for those of you guys who do get it. For those of you guys who do get it, congratulations to those of you guys. Let me just gift it. All right. Right, so I'm gonna give it out in 2 tranches, so it's 5 and 5, right? Right, so I'm gonna give out the first 5. Hopefully the system is all right. All right, so I've given 5 memberships. Hopefully those of you guys. Right, so it's already given out. All right, so awesome. 5 of you guys have already gotten it. I'm gonna give out another 5. All right, so good luck to those of you guys. All right. Congratulations for those of you guys who got it. All right, so there's lots of perks. There's a Discord server as well. So if you got the membership and you want to join the Discord, all you have to do is sync your YouTube with your Discord. The instructions are there in the community tab, so check out the post, and after that you can join the Discord, right? Join us. There's all our members in there. Let me just put another spammer in timeout. All right, so yeah, so for those of you guys who got it, join the Discord, right? There's a lot of us in there. You will love the community. I interact with them very, very often. It's been going on for this whole season. All right, so hope to interact with those of you guys in there. Let me just quickly get to some of your last questions before we end the stream in 7 minutes. If you haven't dropped your question, drop it in the chat. Already took a hit. Should I take another hit to a Regulon as an extra? I wouldn't take a hit to just bring in Regulon. It's a defensive transfer. I would prioritize your attackers. Prioritize your attackers. Quick wildcard 31 draft. Wildcard 31 is a little bit early, you know. Sell Haaland or Solanke for Tony. Depends on your plan actually. If you are wildcarding in game week 31, maybe you could sell Haaland, you know. Toby says FPL Harry's giving out jerseys if he hits 100,000 subscribers. So FPL Harry is just is the GOAT, right? So I really hope that he gets 100,000 subscribers this season, right? So if you aren't subscribed to him, just go over to his channel and subscribe to him, because he is a really, really good FPL content creator, and the rank is super good as well, right? So he has the history to back it up. Right, let me just could have given the memberships out by longevity as a subscriber. I can't choose I can't choose who the algorithm gives the memberships out to. Unfortunately, I can only just give out the memberships, and then they would just choose who who gets them. All right, YouTube does it. How do you know if you get a membership? You just see an extra tab on when you go to my channel on your YouTube app or website. You will have an extra tab that says membership, right? And then all the perks are there. Owen says, I will now behave myself since there are new members. Right. Ben says, would you do matters to Saka or Gordon if you wildcard in Game Week 31? Also, would you do another -4 for Poro? Madison to Saka or Gordon if you wildcard it? Do you mean the other way around though? If it's Gordon to Madison this week, I don't mind it. Right, if it is Gordon to Madison this week, I think it's fine. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it as this. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. The team is really not gonna change, right? Regardless of leagues. I have already made a transfer and I'm definitely not selling either of Palmer, Saka, Gabriel, Zabani or Neto. It's gonna look like this, and this is the, I guess, 3-3-3 formation, if you want to call it. Captain is also gonna be Son. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it as this. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully everyone gets green arrows in Game Week 29. Only 4 fixtures, and then it's the international break. So have a good break, and I'll catch you guys very soon back for Game Week 30 content after the international break. I'll put out an early wildcard draft, and that's pretty much about it. Alright, so until after the international break. I'll see you guys soon, and all the best for Game Week 29. Bye-bye.